Hi, this is Mary from OpenHelix with this week's Tip of the Week. If you're seeing this tip someplace else, please be sure to come back by our blog at blog.openhelix.com for additional details. I'll provide links to the resources I'm talking about today, links to publications, and so on. So check us out at blog.openhelix.com. So recently, we've worked with the GenoCAD team to create a tutorial that explains in detail how to use a lot of the GenoCAD features that you can see here. At this time, I've done that. I've used the grammars and the parts to build synthetic DNA constructs, which then I can use in other tools as well. And that's one of the great features of GenoCAD. I can take these items that I'm developing here, and I can use them in third-party tools. So what I'm going to do is illustrate here how I can take this and use that elsewhere. And if you want the full details about how to accomplish this, of course, see the original tutorial. But let's just take a look at the synthetic design that I've got already in my Available Designs folder. I specifically created one that we'll use for export today just to illustrate some of the features. So what I would do is I would click the View the Construct here, and I load that up, and here's this design. What I've done here is I've created a design that has a vector sequence. It's got an expression cassette here, and so I've got a promoter, ribosome binding site, hist tag, a gene, and a terminator. All of these things I want to export in a file that I can use elsewhere. And there's a couple of easy ways to do that. You could just quickly get the sequence information from the download button here, but if I choose the GenBank option instead, all of the GenBank features that are attached to my categories will come with the download file, and I can visualize those in other software. So that's the goal of what we're going to do today. So you would click the GenBank option here to download this. Now the best way to look at this on a PC is with the WordPad application, so I will show you how to do that. But this will vary by whatever browser you're using. And I'll just quickly give you a look at the type of file that I'm going to get, so it will help you to understand what we're doing. I will download this, and I'll give you a look at that file when I've got it. So here's the file that I've exported. So I created this sample plasmid design for export, as I showed you. And what it carries is the feature table items here that come with all of those items that I used in my construct design. Remember I told you there was the plasmid, so we've got the plasmid sequence available here. I've got a promoter, ribosome binding site, I've got my hist tag here, I've got a gene, and I've got a terminator. All that's available in the feature table here, and the full sequence is available down below. This file is what I'm going to be able to take into a new tool and show you what that looks like. You would access your downloaded file from wherever it is on your platform, and then you would take that file into the new software. So that's what we're going to do. So let's take a look at that. So now I turn to the VectorEditor software itself. And this is a cool project that I found as part of this tutorial development for the GenoCAD software, but I really wanted to illustrate how to do that because we don't go into detail on that in the tutorial that we've got. With the VectorEditor software, you can take anything that's got that GenBank feature table kind of information, you can upload it into the VectorEditor tool, and you can start working with that in a bunch of different ways. The team here, Hector Plehar and Joanna Chen from the Office of Sciences Joint Bioenergy Institute at the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab, are the developers here that are associated with this project, but it's a terrific team that's got a bunch of other tools going on as well. What you can do is take a look at the details on their project homepage here, and you can learn a lot about the VectorEditor features. So let me just illustrate some of those. So we'll take a look at some of these options that we can see here by just importing the sequence, what kind of information we get. You can look at DNA features and amino acid sequence details. You can annotate and edit things. You can use restriction enzymes. It's actually a really cool virtual digest that I'll illustrate as well. So you can see there's ways to edit your sequence information and other features as well. So I don't have time to go into all of that today, but I will take a look at some of these key features and encourage you to check out VectorEditor on your own a little bit later. And the way I'm going to do that is I am going to go to the working demo that they've got. So right here on the page, you have access to the VectorEditor working demo. That's the one that I'll be using to illustrate the import of the GenoCAD file and working with some of the features. So now we turn to the working demo of the VectorEditor software that I've got for you. And I wanted to use that exported file from GenoCAD to show you some of the features of VectorEditor. All I have to do is click the File menu here and import that file. Now again, your file could come from various places depending on where you downloaded it, but you would access that file and import it here. I've got my text file, open that up, and all of the features that were carried out of the GenoCAD tool are now available for me here. And up here in the sequence section, there's just lots of plasmid here, but let's go down to where we can see some of the features were exported. So there's that promoter that I had. I had that histidine tag, and right here we've got this terminator sequence as well. So all that's available for me here. I've got a visualization of that on the left side. This comes in linear format right now as I've imported it, but I can quickly choose to look at this in a circular view. So there we've got our plasmid, we've got our expression cassette over here, and it has those features that came in with it. Now there's more things that you can do once you've got the vector editor loaded up. You can choose to show the cut sites, for example. So here are the restriction enzymes. This is the common set of restriction enzymes, and that's available now. You can check it out not only on the graphical representation here, but you can see those features now are loaded up onto the sequence details over on the other panel. The other thing that you can do is you can manage those. We're looking at the common set here, but you have other enzymes that are available for you too. So there might be some that are more rare that you're going to want to use for your digests, and that's available, and you can add that from here as well. Let me just cancel that though. And so one of the other things that I wanted to illustrate that I thought was so much fun was the simulated digestion here. From this plasmid that I've now got, I could choose to virtually digest it with a couple of enzymes here. So BAM and EcoR1, let's say. And now I've got a digest of what this plasmid would look like next to the standards. So I think that's really fun. This virtual digest with the restriction enzymes that you choose is available here. Now there's other things that you can do. You can choose to take a segment of this sequence here. You can highlight that, and that becomes available for you to edit. So let's just say right here, I've chosen this segment between these two restriction enzymes. I can also use this to edit here. I can enter sequence information here. I can remove sequence here. Save editing. I can remove this sequence information. Oops. I could create this as a new feature. I could say my new feature. So I can annotate this right on the software. And now I've created a little miscellaneous my new feature thing here. I've got a color code to indicate that something's gone on there. So you can choose to enter new sequence, remove sequence, edit these sequences, annotate them. There's all kinds of fun things that you can do with the vector editor software once you've got your sequence information loaded in. As I said, I don't have time to go into all the details of this. Let me show you just a couple of other great useful features. So you can take a look at the 3-frame translation here and reverse complement that, and now you've got the 6-frame translation of this as well. So there's plenty of useful things that you can do with the vector editor software. I would encourage you. I just only had time to take a quick look at some of the things that came in today, but take a look at vector editor software, and I really think this might be useful for people who are teaching students to give them some of the conceptual features of the things that you might want to illustrate here. Try it out. Vector Editor from the team at Lawrence Berkeley National Lab, or the Office of Sciences Joint Bioenergy Institute. Thanks very much for your time.